Good morning. It's so great to see you all and be with you on this Sunday morning. It is November 15th. I can't believe we're already halfway through November. I'm the Reverend Julianne Lepp. I'm minister of this Unitarian Universalist congregation in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Welcome to our virtual services, and we will be doing virtual services through May 2021. We are so glad you joined us this morning for our service. We're going to be talking about spiritual practices. And all of us have been trying to figure out, how do we get through this pandemic with our hearts intact, with our wholeness intact, and trying to be together in community in new ways. So you might also appreciate this service because this is our new member Sunday, where we get to meet some of our new members and find out a little bit more about Unitarian Universalism. So our opening words this morning are from Nathan Ryan. Be it real or metaphor, whatever is in your backpack or your briefcase or your purse that you've brought into this virtual sanctuary that is weighing you down, leave it behind. Whatever you are carrying that is keeping you distracted or caught up in shame or guilt or hopelessness, leave it behind. If you need it, it'll be there. It'll be there when you're done, but just for this hour, let it go. Come into this place with open hearts. Come into this place with a soul that has remembered how to be tender again. Come into this place with renewed hope for the world. Come into this place ready to build the world we've always been worthy of and have always dreamed of. Come, let us worship together. And now we are going to hear the music of our beloved Fred Hobley. And if you don't know Fred, he is a wonderful person in our congregation. He's going to share some music for our Music for Gathering this morning. Good morning, everybody. I think we're highlighting David right now, but we'll want to move over to my video, I think. We have the Harvest Auction Committee to thank today for our beautiful, beautiful auction last night. And we are so grateful for the fact that we made over 130% of our goal, which is amazing. If you look at the website, it says that we're over at 11,700, and not everything is calculated. And people have worked so hard to make this possible. So thank you to everyone who contributed, who participated, and our wonderful auction committee. Also wanted to encourage you, if you haven't participated in the harvest auction, that we want to turn it over to Tracy Hirsch now to tell us more about that. And so she's going to tell us the rest of our harvest auction announcement now.
So that appeared to have worked really well. 130% over our, albeit reduced, goal was really impressive, given that no one knew what they were doing at the beginning of this. There was talk about not doing it at all, but it worked. And so we need to move on to picking up your stuff. If you've won something, an event that doesn't have, or something that doesn't have an actual thing you're getting, you will get a certificate today. So pickup will be today at the Unitarian Church, and line up on Gray Street, and coming
down the hill.
And there, just ring the bell. There will be a sandwich board out there if with the text number if you need it, if you don't want to leave your car, and wear a mask. If you're not feeling well, let us know. There is a sign up in an email you received from Chris for an appointment time. Sunday we'll have pickup till 4 o'clock today. We're starting at oh, where did it go? But you have to sign up for it.
Angie's posted the sign up link to the chat.
Oh, thank you so much. So we have a very complicated, convoluted system to get everything to you without anyone really having to be by anyone, given the rates of infection in Eau Claire. But I'm still boggled by how much we did and how much fun that was, and how everyone was smooth, and just it had glitches, but it worked. And my heart was so full after all the music and everyone and Tim's speech. And okay, I'm done.
Thank you, Tracy.
Good morning. I'm Nate Otto. I am the Vice President of the congregation this year. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation. We are a religious community who commit ourselves to diversity. We hope to nourish human differences, those of gender, race, age, ability, sexual orientation, political views, culture, class, and religious belief. Welcome to all who treasure freedom of conscience in the search for truth. We promise to do our best to provide you a spiritual home. We extend a special welcome to our visitors today. We hope you'll follow our UUC Facebook page and stay tuned for other events, such as Wonderful Wednesdays and Sunday morning meditation. There are other religious exploration classes for adults and small groups for support and interests, like the book club. Also, families can follow our UUC Religious Exploration Facebook page. There are religious exploration classes for 4K through 9th grade, and a youth group every Wednesday online for middle school and high school students. We're glad you could join us today.
Good morning. My name is Allison Oliphant. I'm your worship associate this morning. We invite you to light your chalice at home with the words of Catherine Callahan. As the chalice is lit, let us come together into the sacred space we have created. Let the cares of the day fall away and know that here is a place for quiet reflection, for a pause in our lives, for breathing into our true selves. Let what is said and felt here add richness to the dimensions of our lives and spiritual practices. We are strong together in community. We share the experience of being human. Let the warmth of the chalice lit during our time together connect us and carry us into the world.
Sorry, Karen, you'll have to unmute yourself. I muted
Okay.
everybody.
We're actually going to move into Allison's
Yeah, I thought so.
reflection, and then we'll move into the new member ceremony. So
I
we'll,
apologize.
oh, no problem. It is Sunday morning. So we will move back to Allison and let her speak.
On the surface, it would seem that there is very little that is spiritual about parenting a toddler. The noise, the mess, the busyness, and the worry. Prior to becoming a parent, I just knew that motherhood was going to be my jam. I was so certain. My husband, too, felt that his real purpose was going to lie in fatherhood, in the basketball games and bedtime stories and family bike rides. Having been involved in the caretaking of children, from babysitting up to teaching, I felt that I knew what was in store and had no doubts. I was meant to be a mom. And then Rosalie was born. Although our love for her and instinct to protect and provide for her was extremely strong, Brandon and I were thrown into a cyclone of questions. Why did we do this? Who am I? Who are we? We watched floundering as other parents appeared effortless in their ability to juggle multiple children and voice their desire to have more. We were paralyzed, confused. We had soul searching to do. There are so many voices. Societal expectations are communicated in a constant stream from every direction. Some of these sources are informational and some opinionated. Some are well-meaning and some judgmental. It is overwhelming to wade through it all, wanting nothing more than to make the right choice for my child and our family. It requires slowing down, pausing, which is not a strength of mine, to examine and parse out what fits and what does not. In the age of social media, there is also the question of how your parenting will be portrayed to others. Will I be honest about our journey? Will I participate at all? How do I stay focused on what matters to us and not to everyone else? While social media has brought me many gifts and connections with others through parenting, these questions truly eat at me, at times threatening both my mental and spiritual health. I don't like it, and yet I feel stuck. These are the times we live in and the decisions we have to make. A tricky thing about parenting is that you rarely ever know immediately if you have made the right choice. Whether it be related to social media or otherwise, parenting is chock full of choices, one after another, that may or may not turn out to be influential later in life. Will giving my daughter chocolate with a meal now result in a sugar addiction later? Am I giving her the independence she needs to develop confidence and initiative? If we send her to a typical public school setting rather than, say, Spanish immersion or Montessori, will she be a self-starter and have curiosity for learning? Are we using the right words and actions to teach her to be kind and empathetic as she grows? Are we sending her to a daycare environment that is providing the right kind of care and socialization? The list could go on forever. None of these questions have answers right now. We live in a state of good intention with a payoff or consequences that will remain unknown for years and years. Again, we ask, why did we do this? Who am I? Who are we? And now, who is she? But this time the questions feel a little different. Still anxiety ridden, but now a little bit more complex and asked by people who sleep at night and don't cry 15 times a day, usually. My daughter has a gross motor delay and wears braces to keep her foot bones growing as they should. And the patience it has taken to get us to where she is now, running and jumping and climbing, has in itself been a workout in spirituality. There is guilt, there is anger, there is grief. It would be easy to let this swallow me whole. I do not know what her motor skills will be like a year from now, or when she enters kindergarten, or when she's a teenager. The unknown bears down on me like a dark, heavy cloud, and I have moments of tears and ranting and intense anxiety. My UU journey thus far has helped me to recognize the benefit and necessity of these feelings. It is okay to sit with them. It is okay to feel them and let them run their course so I can move on and embrace the other feelings that are also present. The joy and celebration and the curiosity and learning and the immense pride in doing hard things. Grief and anger can be fuel for change and a lens through which I can better recognize areas that need more work, my mindfulness and ability to be present rather than engulfed in worry. I thought as Rosalie grew when we re-entered the world of the living that we would find ourselves amongst those who are ready to do it all again. 2.5 years in, and that feeling still eludes us. We grapple with balancing what we truly want with what others expect of us or what we see others able to do. We are bringing the question inside, deep into our hearts and minds, away from prying eyes and shouting voices, disappointed eyes and unsolicited opinions. Much like coming to terms with the motor delay, there is grief here. And again, as always, worry. A friend told me as I expressed my feelings on this that I am not less of a mother if I have only one child. And I cried. It was exactly what I needed to hear without even realizing it. So much of who I am is rooted in motherhood, what I expected it to be, what I hope it will become, and the things I give of myself so that my child will grow knowing she is loved beyond belief and capable beyond measure. Part of the spirituality of parenthood is accepting the impermanence of all of this. We could change our minds tomorrow. Feelings are fleeting. Stages of development, as long as they sometimes seem, are over as quickly as they began. If we have done our jobs well, Rosalie will be ready to fly with her own wings just 16 short years from now. We do our very best to love and guide her with intention. We're getting better at looking at our long game and taking the necessary time to work through emotions and communicate more effectively. Our soul searching is ongoing and likely always will be. Although we first asked these questions in a wild panic, they now nudge us forward with reflection and with calm. Remember why we did this. Remember who I am. Remember who we are. Keep discovering who she is. Sometimes the questions are the answers. At night, as I get Rosalie ready for bed, we still rock and snuggle in the rocking chair. She is growing and amazing us every day, but she is still so small and needs so much of us. I smell her hair and take some deep breaths. I am here. I'm in this moment right here and right now. I am content and I am grateful.
Today, we welcome new members into our congregation. Welcome to Ashley Lynn, Marcia Jacobs, Jessica Voss, Kim Del Valle Walker, and Greg Galinsky, who is rejoining as a member. It is a good time to remind ourselves of the goals we hold in common and the experiences we share that nourish our spirits. The mission of the Unitarian Universalist congregation is to provide a liberal religious environment that promotes personal and spiritual growth for adults and children in a caring community and fosters actions in the world that reflect our Unitarian Universalist principles. We celebrate your presence in our midst. We look forward to working with you, to worshiping with you, to shaping the community together with you. We invite you to participate as fully as you are able with your convictions and actions, your love and play and gifts, your sorrow and laughter and song, your questions and discoveries. Jessica.
Good morning. I'm Jessica Voss. In freely joining this community, we seek to share the fellowship here and join our resources with others to continue a tradition that fosters freedom, reason, love, and responsibility. We support the mission of the congregation and the principles and purposes of the Unitarian Universalist Association.
Kim.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kim Del Valle Walker. We join to affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, acceptance of one another, and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations.
Marcia.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Marcia Jacobs. And this is the rest of this covenant. A free and responsible search for truth and meaning. The right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large. The goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part.
Welcome to our new members. We hope you'll get a chance to greet them if you're in Zoom coffee today, or meet them in small groups and other activities. Welcome.
Welcome so much to our newest members, and so grateful for all of us to be here together virtually, whether on Facebook or in Zoom, or if you watch it later. We're putting out beautiful things into the world and keeping ourselves more whole by doing this. Now is the time in our service where we share our joys and concerns. You may share your joys and concerns in the chat, and I will read them aloud. And want to take a moment of silence as we hold you in this caring community of love. We light a candle this morning for the beautiful people who made the auction possible this year and so many years before. A very special thanks to Bob Jankowski and to Jane Redman, who have given so many years of service in this arena, and their vision and dedication to this congregation. Want to recognize David Hirsch, who is grateful for all the people that are joining. Tracy is joyful that her sister has recovered from COVID. So that's so wonderful. Julia Brown says that she is grateful for the ticket add-on last night. It had cupcakes from Michelle Theudy. It was wonderful. Allison Oliphant shares a concern for a college friend who lost his mom to COVID this morning. We also recognize Trish, who shares on Facebook that her COVID symptoms are making a second round, and she's concerned that this might keep happening. So we especially hold her in this time. And Frances shares, I'm concerned about my daughter's custody placement. Virginia shares that she is grateful that her son and his kids have recovered from COVID. Thank you so much for all the people who are caring for one another during this difficult time. Susan shares that they are praying for Jerry's sister-in-law, who was placed on a ventilator last night due to COVID. And our UU staff is grateful for all the amazing team that made the auction a success. Thank you so much for being there for one another and reaching out to those in need. And right now we know that COVID numbers are incredibly high. That's one of the reasons why we are doing a contact-free pickup for the auction. So if you sign up for items for pickup, you'll just stay in your car and you can text the number. A volunteer will bring it to you very quickly and then lovingly send you on your way, because we want to be able to see you in person when things are so much better. Kathy shares a light of joy for my niece, Beth, on her non-50th birthday. Early last night with over 15 of my closest relatives all Zoomed together. That's beautiful. So we are trying so hard to find ways to be together. And this is one of the ways in which we can be together. You can say in unison with me these words to close our joys and concerns. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Find a stillness, hold a stillness, let the stillness carry me. Find the silence, hold the silence, let the silence carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony.
Now we'll move to Alison Oliphant, sharing her story for all ages.
The story for all ages is called Faith is Like a Walking Stick by Gary Kowalski. How many of you like to go hiking? I have a number of walks nearby that I like, Hunger Mountain, Snake Mountain, and others. Or if we don't want to drive, my wife and I just go down to our local park where in just a few steps you can forget you're in the city. Sometimes we bring our dog Smokey along, and Smokey isn't as strong or as fast as he used to be. But that's okay because I'm not as young or fast as I used to be either, and Smokey reminds me to slow down. A walk in the woods isn't a race after all. It's not all about seeing how fast you can go or how quickly you can get to the end of the trail. A walk can be like a meditation, a series of moments to be aware of all the sights and sounds along the way. If you're in too big a hurry, you forget to hear the birds sing and might not see that little mushroom growing under the tree, the one with the yellow cap. But even when you take your time, a walk can sometimes be tough going. What if it starts to rain? And what if there's a wet, soggy, boggy place where the stepping stones are few and far between? Well, in those cases, I found a couple of things that help. First of all, it helps to have a friend or two along, because then even if it starts to pour and the raindrops are trickling down your nose, you can always sing a song together, and it's hard to feel sorry for yourself when you're singing an old Beatles song. And for those soggy, boggy places, if you can't have a friend along, there's nothing like a walking stick, which helps you keep your balance, and whether you're walking uphill or down, makes you a little steadier on your legs. Walking sticks make me think about our faith, Unitarian Universalism, which is a little different from other religions. Because for us, life is like a long walk or a journey. It starts when we're little children and just learning about our world, and then grows as we grow. With each step, we're always gathering more information and gaining more experiences, finding out about ourselves, and as we explore, our beliefs change. The things we imagine might be true when we're 6 years old are different from the dreams we have when we're 60. And none of us is just certain where or how the trail ends or what we'll find when we finally reach the mountaintop. But we know that other people have walked this way before, and that gives us the hope and courage to continue on the adventure. Now, just like on a long trail, life sometimes gets a little tough and can even be scary. And that's why it helps to have friends and a spiritual community like this one. And at times we start to lose our balance and begin to fall down. And then it's handy to have that walking stick along. You all have the opportunity to make your own stick, just the right size and weight, the right thickness so you can have a firm grip to help you go wherever you need to go. And as Unitarian Universalists, you too can find and make a religion that you can call your own.
Thank you, Allison. So we take a deep breath and we are centered here together. Reverend Victoria Safford writes, "Hold what you believe in. Take a breath and find it. Hold it in your mind. Hold a picture of our sanctuary filled with people, filled with light, and know that we're holding you. Hold what you believe in like a chalice of light before your eyes, and travel on towards it like you go to class or to work or to lunch. Everywhere you go, take a breath, and with a new resolve, hold on to what matters most." We all need something that holds us. We heard from Allison of the challenges of being a parent and being in the world and walking with those tensions of both and, that liminal place that we always find ourselves in. Sometimes we need to cuddle ourselves in snuggly blankets and wrap ourselves up. Sometimes we are held in a song like what we heard. Find a Stillness is one of my favorites, and it was lovely to hear the sounds of the flute and just feeling wrapped up in that melody. Maybe we're held in awe of a double rainbow, or when we recite the names of our ancestors or the Buddha, or in the action of our loving neighbors who call us when we are sick, or think of us with a note or a card or a text. Rumi said, there are 1,000 ways to kneel and kiss the ground. There are 1,000 ways to go home again. I know when I say that, I need to take a deep breath. 1,000 ways to go home again. You know, right now it feels like we are so far away from what is normal. This pandemic has gone on for months and months, and we know that we still have months to go forward. So how do we bring that home to us? You know, are we like turtles where we carry it on our backs? Are we like starfish that regenerate our legs and our arms and we keep on trying to be in the world? Are we like children who look up and wonder and sing? Are we like beautiful butterflies that come out of our cocoons when the light and the world is just warm enough for us? How are you going to carry yourself and be held during this time? And we think of our spiritual practices, and you know, spiritual practices sounds very up here, but it's usually down here. A spiritual practice can be as easy as raking leaves. You rake the leaves and you think or you don't think, and it's very spiritual, it's very calming. You bag the leaves and there you go. Or maybe you mulch the leaves on your lawn like we're doing, and you and you leave them there and you're like, yay, pollinators are going to come. That's my spiritual practice. I'm going to do that. It doesn't have to be something that's big or hard, but the more you do it, the more you are grounded. I've been doing these Sunday meditations, I think, the whole time during pandemic. And each time I do it, I think, will it be enough? Will it feel meditative? And, you know, I say, oh, I'm not a guru or yoga teacher or whatever it is, that all those negative thoughts that are in my head that tell me it's not good enough. And then in the moment, the silence is plenty good enough. The presence is plenty good enough. And I feel changed and I grow each time I do that practice. And it's the same with yoga for me. I'm such a social person. I'm an extrovert with a capital E. And so for me, this pandemic has robbed me of my people. And I want to be in classes and I want to be surrounded by folks. And that's just not safe. And so to go to yoga, I log into Zoom or I watch it on YouTube, and I'm alone with my mat and I think that's not enough. But when I do it, when I move into Shavasana at the very end, and I'm held in that stillness and that quiet of having honored my body and honored my time, I'm changed. And by changing myself and giving myself that breath and that care, I'm able to call someone who needs me or able to listen more fully, to be present. Because when we are stripped thin, when we are stretched so far that we have nothing left, it hurts us and it hurts others. And this is possibly one of the hardest times of our lifetime. And we are all trying to find ways to be held, to hold on, to be community. Last night we had an auction and about 75 people gathered in Zoom, and there was tears and joy and light and love, and we raised money for the UU. Yay! It was wonderful. And this morning we gather in this space, and I can see some of you have your candles lit. I can see some of you in Zoom. I see some of you posting on Facebook. And know that you are held in this liminal, beautiful, messy, we make mistakes when we're doing our services. We share at the wrong time, but we do that in church too. It's it's part of that beautiful messiness of being human, isn't it? It's that fallibility. And I think if we can be kind to ourselves and recognize that in that brokenness and that imperfection is where sometimes we find our biggest lessons. Unitarian Universalism encompasses many faith traditions. We have Christians, Muslims, Jews, Hindus, pagans, atheists, agnostics, humanists, and others. We have a big tent. We have a big tent for our Unitarian Universalism. And there is no official Unitarian Universalist creed. And I remember in seminary, people would say, how can you get along together? How do you do this? And I always think of our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church. And we hold each other and we learn from each other. And this morning we welcomed new members, and we are invited onto a path of unfolding, becoming stronger, becoming more grounded, becoming more awakened. And this search is not like a cafeteria meal. Sometimes people joke, well, you're a Unitarian Universalist, you can believe in anything. And it's true. We might have many different beliefs, but there is a depth in looking to different sources. I love that I can attend a Buddhist meditation or go to a Catholic mass or find beauty in different spaces and know that those things can hold me just as deeply. Frederick and Marianne Brissot write, separateness is an illusion. That's what we learn through the spiritual practice of connections. Everything is interrelated. Time, space, and our own being. Both religion and both religion and science reveal this truth. Hinduism's image of Indra's net, Buddhism's understanding of interbeing, the experiences of mystics, the teachings of ecology and physics, even the internet contain those connections. And it's comforting, it's the definition of spirituality can be the art of making connections within ourselves, with nature, with something bigger than ourselves. I know during this election, my anxiety has been out the roof, like many of us, just not knowing what is happening and concerned for peace in our country. And I sometimes would turn it off. Sometimes I would watch it for hours on end. And I had to find ways to really ground myself and to find that piece. And one of the ways I did that was people for services will send in music, and like the music we hear today, I would play that music 3 or 4 or 5 times during that week, and to hear the voices of the people I love in our congregation brought me into a different space. I'm like, okay, well, it's not just this reality, right? This is not the only reality of stress and 24-hour news and doom scrolling on Facebook. These are people in my world, even though I'm not seeing them right now. And then going outside, even though it's cold and I'm born a Southerner, I'm going to learn this winter how to get outside because I have to. I have to go be in nature and be held and do all that forest bathing that people talk about, even when it's cold, and learn how to snowshoe maybe, because that is what I need to be held during this time. I hope that you will find practices that hold you, whether attending a service like this or going to a yoga class, or here's my book of Rumi, the big book of Rumi, and 1,000 ways to kiss the ground and to bring ourselves home. You know, it's the beauty of that connection, because you are not alone. You are not alone. And we are here with you now, and we are going to be with you after this ends, and it will end. Sometimes it feels like this pandemic just keeps on going like the ever ready battery. No, thank you. No, thank you. I don't want the ever ready battery. I want you to think about the word worship. It means to shape something of worth, from the word worth shapen. And I'm going to share words of Jacob Trapp. To worship is to stand in awe under a heaven of stars, before a flower, a leaf in sunlight, or a grain of sand. To worship is to be silent and receptive. Before a tree astir with the wind, or in the passing shadow of a cloud. To worship is to work with dedication and to skill. It is to pause from work and listen to a strain of music. To worship is to sing, to sing with the beauty of the earth. It is to listen through a storm to that still small voice within. Worship is a loneliness seeking communion. It is a thirsty land crying out for rain. It is a kindred fire within our hearts. It moves through deeds of kindness and through acts of love. Worship is the mystery within us, reaching out to the mystery beyond. It is an inarticulate silence yearning to speak. It is the window of the moment open to the sky of the eternal. I'm going to close this time with a few spiritual practices that were shared with me on Facebook when I asked how people are coping or what their spiritual practices are. I heard from Sue Gifford that listening to piano music is just about all I have wanted to listen to this year. Music is where I feel the spirit. Teresa Ritzinger said practicing yoga, being barefoot on the earth, not in winter, breathing deeply when in nature, reading, burning a nicely scented candle, and listening to a blues and jazz song while creating delicious and healthy food, holding my husband's hand. You know, what a cool idea for a spiritual practice, holding someone's hand. Or if you have an animal, stroking an animal. Lynn Buskey says, prayer constantly to God, to guides, to ancestors, to spirit animals. And we heard from Celeste Renee Snyder, as a Muslim, I'm doing 5 daily prayers. It gives me a chance to step away from whatever I am doing and talk to God for a few minutes. And lastly, our own Kathy Ryder, trying to give myself permission just to be. No high expectations. We are all enough, perfect just as we are, which makes it easier to be in the now and truly to enjoy the moment. Amen. Now is the time when we will move into our giving with gratitude for the abundance in our lives. We give to help people in need and to support the work of this congregation. Our 50-50 Share the Plate this month is Literacy Chippewa Valley, and they help people with literacy and learning. You can donate online at uueauclair.com, or you can text to give to 84321. You can also mail checks to the UUC at 421 South Farwell Street. And now we will hear the beautiful creation of our choir for our Music for Giving. Thank you to David for helping this video happen. The offering will now be given and gratefully received.
With me still.
please join me at home with extinguishing your chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. For those of you watching from our Facebook live stream, we're so glad that you've joined us today. If you'd like to get information on how to join services in Zoom, you can fill out the visitor link in the Facebook comments. Those attending in Zoom, we'll take a brief moment to share joys and concerns or share names that you might not have shared during service, and then we will move into our breakout rooms. Our closing words this morning are from Frederick E. Gillis. May the love that overcomes all differences, that heals all wounds, that puts to flight all fears, that reconciles all who are separated, be in us and among us, now and always. Amen. Go in peace, go in love.